leverage on the profession, leverage on the profession, and try to do something on it. So in order to, first of all, go to that question proper, it has no boundary, whether you have a prerequisite knowledge of, let's say, physics or chemistry. When you come to this profession, you are a different person entirely. And it does not mean that you should have a background in all those things, but you will understand it better because it's a science course on its own. Just like you rightly mentioned when we started this program, you said it is scientifically based. It is scientifically based, of course, because there is this chemistry of fire, physics of fire, and in which all these things are being analyzed for one to see how physics and chemistry really appear in it. So I want to believe that no boundary to whoever that want to read this course, and this course or this fire safety training, it is promising. It is, I can say, it has no bound when it comes to opportunity. And let me also try to say this, because most of our have gotten work elsewhere. Whenever they go abroad, they will tell you, they will tell us, I applied as a manager and I was told that the manager position was limited. But when I applied as a safety officer, I was even earning more than the other manager that was employed earlier. So it is of privilege and it is highly recognized. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim, for that expository comment on this noble profession. Now, we also understand that most people here don't intend to, some don't intend to work in the fire service. Some intend to work in the other areas of safety, environment, health, and all that. Can you elaborate more about other opportunities that surround this training they've just done, particularly using this certificate to go into the various areas of safety, like those working in the oil company or those searching for jobs, and what are the scope, what are the opportunities open to them in different professional setting within this scope of learning they can join apart from fire service?
Thank you so much. Yes, fire service is just one place of employment and of rendering services to the public. For whoever that has obtained this certificate, you have no limitation where you are going to work. Apart from being a safety officer, HSE officer in oil and gas companies, in other companies where you can be employed as a safety or risk manager, no, you can as well be self-employed with it. You can be self-employed with it because there is this aspect of consulting. Like now, I am a consultant to most high institutions here in Abuja. They do call me. It's not as if you buy them fire extinguishers or whatever. They call me, come and we want to set up a place. And now we want you to give us advice based on fire safety and some other aspect of safety. Then I will now give them advice and you know how much that will cost. So the opportunity of consulting is also there. So if you want to take it as a profession, you need to go further by doing this training and then reading all the materials and then try to make more research. This is just one aspect of fire safety. Plage still have more that will roll out, which we will still expose to the people. And that is when they will now see that the opportunity abounds in fire safety. So I can bet you, I can really, really tell the whole world that apart from working as a staff of any company, you are a consultant if you know your onions.
Thank you very much. You just reminded me of a course we did not quite long, how to become a consultant. And what we keep telling people is that don't look at the negative side of what is happening. look at the opportunities that are not being tapped. So you've heard it for yourself. If you study this course and you take it further, you can even become a consultant. And I remember when I was in UAC in the compliance department, one of the things that I did as part of my job description is to ensure that every building that has been set up for a restaurant must pass simple tests that must be given by me, evaluated and passed over to my superiors in Lagos. And when I left UAC, I consulted for some restaurants in their building as I work with the engineers. Like I told you, I studied French. But because of the background I had in compliance, I was able to work with engineers to make sure that every single building being built for a restaurant must meet that standard, including the kind of tiles they are using. So you can become a consultant from anywhere, even starting from this training, moving a step higher or so, you can start seeing yourself doing so much. Okay, let's take one question before we go ahead to talk to Mr. Ibrahim. Before I go ahead to send more questions to Mr. Ibrahim, let's look at Adedamola Bello. I'm sure you have a question to ask. Are you there, Adedamola? Okay. Isaiah Savior.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Good evening. What's your question, please? Just 1 minute.
And good evening, everybody. Please,
Good evening.
I want to ask, with this training, one, is it possible to get it this certificate as a startup on getting a job in the HSE FCT fire service? And secondly, is it is there any school or anything like that someone can forward into the course of safety and fire service? Then lastly, does this course also partake in site safety and other things like that? That's my question, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, before I hand over to Mr. Ibrahim to respond to your 3 questions. Oh, Mr. Ibrahim, please kindly take note of those 3 questions. If you can hear me loud and clear, and if you can hear Mr. Ibrahim loud and clear, please just type yes. Because some places are complaining that you can't hear. Just type yes. Yeah. Okay, so over to you, Mr. Ibrahim. It's clear everybody can hear. So if you can't hear us, check your audio. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. Over to you.
Thank you. The first thing you said was if you can get a job with especially with the FCT Fire Service with a certificate. You see, FCT Fire Service will not deny what it has endorsed to be authentic. FCT Fire Service has gone into partnership with Plage Metaverse and they honor their certificates. So if there is employment opportunity and you add up this qualification to it, it is an added advantage to you. So please, you can as well add this whenever you see, and it's not only limited to FCT Fire Service. Most of the fire service around us that recognize FCT Fire Service as an institution and as an organization that is really, really active and relevant in the society, they will honor such certificate. I want to believe I've answered your question. Is that one part of the question? Is there another one you asked?
Okay, what's the other question, please? Just a reminder. You also asked about getting into the profession. What are the areas and courses you can do if there are schools that can help you to grow in the profession?
Oh, that is good. HSE is a course in some places, in some schools, some institutions, and disaster management is also a course. When you read disaster management, one aspect of disaster management is fire service, or fire safety rather. Another aspect is flooding. We're also talking about collapsed building. We talk about rescue services. The real name for fire service is fire and rescue services. So if it has to do with fire and rescue services, that means health and safety is all encompassing here. What are we saying? You can extinguish fire, You can advise on the fire equipment that should be installed in the building. You can also advise on things that has to do with falls, that is during building, slip, trip, and falls. We all know those are hazards when you are climbing the staircase or when you are on the slippery ground. So these are aspects. Then about road safety, is your car worthy to be on the road? Those are aspects that you would think, what is fire and service doing? Rescue services is the one that is taking care of that angle. Meaning your car must be intact, must be viable, must be, how will I put it? Before it must be roadworthy before it can hit the road. You must have fire extinguisher in your car before it can hit the road. So most of these aspects are just aspects of safety that fire safety and rescue services can encounter, can undertake. So we are going, you can read so many courses and you still work as a fire officer.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. I want to believe that you've done justice to that question, but we also want to appeal, because we know you are highly loaded and we know you are putting on your uniform, but also be generous enough to start talking more about other areas of safety and that people can go into apart from fire service. Because I know a lot of people here might want to go into other areas, not just fire service. Maybe very few might want to go into fire service or fire-related area of specialization, which I feel, even without working with FCT Fire Service or any other fire service, will be very, very useful to you. You can find yourself in US, in Canada, in Australia, anywhere. As long as you've done this training, the certificate can be verified from us. I'm sure you can easily fit into their fire service there. So I think you are stepping on a gold mine. Yeah, let's take another question from Mr. Olatunde Ogunbiade. Ogunlade.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
It's a pleasure meeting you people.
Thank you. Thank you.
I will greet the senior officer from the fire service.
Thank you.
Sir, my question is, sir, is it not possible to also include the name of the fire service, Federal Fire Service of Nigeria, to indicate it on our certificates? That's the first question. Then on this course, I want to ask about the safety about other part of the course, like saving safety about water disaster and so on like that. Apart from the fire stuff, I want him to enlighten us more on that, how to partake on such emergency issues when it arises. That's my question.
Thank you. Doctor?
Okay, you can go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I want to first of all say the first question that why can't the Federal Fire Service be part of this program? I think Plage is at liberty to choose who he partner with. So if the Federal Fire Service and FCT Fire Service are one organization, and like I said before, we are doing the same course. So if Federal Fire Service, Plage deem it fit to have a partnership with a Federal Fire Service, then their logo will appear. But there are some, paperwork and bureaucracies that will have to, first of all, be done before such thing is done. We didn't just appear and say FCT Fire Service and Plage. No, Plage actually approached FCT Fire Service, and FCT Fire Service concord with fact support what Plage is doing. The outreach of Plage Metaverse is what is even motivated Fire Service to say, no, we must disseminate information about safety to the people of the world. And let also the people from abroad, that is from US, UK, Netherlands, who are part of this program, know that there is an organization that is also vibrant in Nigeria, Africa, and it's also, in partnership with them and most of the program they are sponsoring. So I want to believe that that aspect, Plage is at liberty to liaise with also other organizations, not only limited to Federal Fire Service. Then we talk about water safety and others. Honestly, when I say fire and rescue services, how to swim is one aspect. Before you can rescue somebody that is drowning, you must know how to swim. So it's a unit in our own office that you must know how to swim. All of us in fire service may not know how to swim, but there are people that are trained to know how to do so. And when the arise, they are called upon from the unit. So the rescue unit does that. And there's also one particular unit that is also domiciled in the FCT Emergency Management Agency. You will see the fire officer that knows how to swim, knows how to do flooding training and exercises. They are in that disaster management or control organization. So I want to believe that you can do that as well if you join fire service. Knowing how to swim, then knowing how to rescue people from flooding and water-related accidents.
Thank you for the response, sir.
Thank you.
And again, sir.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Again, sir, I would still want him to enlighten us more on road accidents. Actually, I know the fire service is not all about road accident and all that stuff, but I want you to enlighten us more on road accident, whether it involves fire, the accident points or not. I just want him to enlighten us more as a professional.
Thank you. One of expect when there's a road mishap is fire.
Yes, sir.
So if the time you want, that is why when there's a crash, you will quickly see them saying, remove the terminal of the battery. Is that not?
Sir, yes.
So that is one of the ignition points where fire can catch. And you know there's availability of PMS in the car,
yes,
diesel or AGO in most of the trucks. And once it's on fire, it will be aggravated more if the terminal of the battery is still intact.
yes.
So most of our concern is that once we do rush there, once the road safety goes there, and there's a tendency that they will quickly call the fire service to also come along, so that as they are rescuing, we are also standing by in case there will be fire. Then let me also tell you something. To break the car doors, there is hydraulic tools that we have, equipment that we have to open a crack squeezed. Somebody is alive inside the car, but you can't get access to the person. The door is squeezed. The door for everything is squeezed. There are equipment, there are tools we can make use of to open the door. We call one spreader. Once we put it, we use it also to open the elevator. When you are being trapped in the elevator, you call fire service.
Separate it.
Open the elevator to free such. You can now see that it's not only fire-related issues alone. So to make sure that such victims are free from more problem, more danger, we go with some of these our tools from our ET, emergency tender, and we'll rescue these victims. Thank you if I've answered your question.
Thank you so much, sir. Senior officer. Thank you so much. I appreciate your response, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. We appreciate your time and effort. It's really worth it having you here. I'm getting a lot of a lot of comments, two sets of comments. One, so many comments on fire extinguishers. The people want you to talk about fire extinguishers, the classification and stuff like that. And part of the materials you'll be getting on our site that you'll be reading. That's why we might not need to waste too much time on that. You'll be watching videos of fire extinguishers, various kind of fire extinguishers, the classification and all that. But Mr. Ibrahim, you can talk about it briefly. Then number two, lots of persons here, they want to go into other areas of safety, health and environment. You used to mention about Plage, OSHA and all that, all the professional settings, professional directions they can flow into. People want to know about them. So you can quickly talk about those two areas.
Thank you. The fire extinguishers are portable first aid firefighting equipment. What we mean first aid, they are so movable, they are so handy that you can move from one place to another. And in most cases, they are used to fight a fire that is just about 120 seconds that has just been ignited for about 0 to 120 seconds. And such fire is assumed to be a small fire, except an explosion. So you can make use of first aid firefighting equipment to extinguish such fire. But anything above 2 minutes, the fire is assumed to be a bigger fire, though you cannot still fold your arms. You still approach such fire with fire extinguisher, but with more carefulness, because if you are not being careful, you may get yourself burned or you may get yourself wounded, because the fires actually are grown to a level where you shouldn't even approach it with a first aid firefighting equipment anymore. Because once fire starts, it starts small, and once it has grown to a ceiling point, then it is no longer a small fire. So for fire extinguisher of different categories, Class A fire is a fire where solid organic materials are used. So fire extinguisher that will be used on that will be the type of DCP fire extinguisher. Then Class B fire, the CO2 is more of oil and gas or oily fire, which is involving fire that involve liquid or liquefied solids. You can also use DCP fire extinguisher, but in most cases, if it has to do with fatty oil, like in the kitchen, you can use a more friendly fire extinguisher in the kitchen, which is a carbon dioxide fire extinguisher. If you check your note, you'll see CO2 fire extinguisher. That is more appropriate in the kitchen than that of the DCP. While we have other type of extinguisher, foam extinguisher, which is also good for oil extinguisher, and we have buckets, like sand bucket. Sand bucket is also an extinguishing medium, extinguishing agent. We store them mostly in the filling station so that to fight what? Metal fire. It's good to fight metal fire. That is why in those days, in the past, you'll see people saying, once they see a car that is on fire, you'll see them pouring sand on it. Before you know it, the car fire will be extinguished. But more appropriate, because of the modern technology, we have now seen more of these fire extinguishers, and the most common fire extinguisher, most durable fire extinguisher, most used fire extinguisher is the one we call DCP fire extinguisher, which we also refer to as multi-purpose fire extinguisher. Store them in your car, in your homes, and you get a lot of results. But if I should ask this question, how many of us, even those that have 3-bedroom flats, 4-bedroom duplex, and also how many of us have extinguishers? Not to talk of the fire blankets, and not to talk of fireball, smoke detectors, and so on and so forth. So I want to believe we can do that. The second point, remember, is about what? Once again? Hello?
Okay, I'm with you.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of persons have been asking about what other areas, apart from fire, they can go into, and some professional lines of traveling along this profession, some professional bodies they can join and all that. They just want to know a more elaborate picture about
all right.
Yeah.
All right. You see, more of safety, when you talk about domestic safety, do you know that when you go into your restroom, that is toilet, as it is called, no, you look at it and you take your eyes off it, you are also a kind of hazard to the home, because that soap can make you sleep and injure you. It can even send one to death. So such domestic safety is one aspect that one can also dwell into. Domestic safety is, in fact, you can't underrate it. By the time you get that, you will see that you will know how to take care of your immediate family, and then you know how to take care of others. Do you know that poor housekeeping, that is, clogging everywhere with rubbish or dirty materials, has caused so many fires and has even aggravated many small fires, because what fire wants is more combustible materials to make it grow quickly. So if you now clog the entire house with many deaths, you will see that most of these things will aid the fire to grow. That is that. Then do something about poor housekeeping. So if you want domestic fires from domestic safety, that is one aspect. Is it also about behavior-based safety? Behavior-based safety is about changing your attitude towards safety in general. Do you know that by the time you tell somebody that before you go onto that site, before you enter the construction site, do wear your helmet, wear your safety boots, wear your body harness? He will tell you that it has never happened since he started working here 20-something years ago. It is not now that it will happen. So he will go there carelessly and something will happen and everybody will be regretting. So construction safety is also one aspect. And that is why when you go to a construction firm, you will see that they will say safety first, safety always. It's written boldly. They will say first, safety is observed first here before you enter their own site. So that is one aspect. When you are doing a well-being job, a hot work, in safety we call it hot work. When you are doing hot work, you need a very good fire extinguisher closer to you. Not only that, you need what we call PTW. PTW simply means permit to work. Permit to work from your superior, so that when you are in the place of work, all the necessary things that are supposed to be there that will secure you and secure others against any hazard will be properly taken care of before you start on the job. That is also one of the aspects of safety. Let me also please still remind every one of us that it is not only limited to permit to work and other construction sites. What about attitudinal and behavioral change that we've been preaching about? How many of us have ever said, God forbid, to when you are being preached to that there is going to be a fire, you can fall, you can do this. There is ladder safety. When you climb ladder, somebody will be at the base of the ladder holding it for you. But somebody will tell you that the ladder is firm to the ground. I won't fall. And when it happens, that person can get injured for life. That person can be a vegetable after such work. He will not move again. So such things are aspects of safety that you can dwell into. Environmental and health safety can be a very vast course in which anyone you pick, you can really excel in it.
Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. You are really doing justice to this program. And I will quickly want to ask, can you just mention places that people can work or can start a career or can start thinking of going into to work after this training, areas they can branch into, maybe various areas they can branch into, apart from fire service?
Thank you. There is one aspect of this training that one can always, talk about. You see, when we were reading filling out the slide yesterday, there's one place called Fire Safety Practical. The Fire Safety Practical is how to use the fire extinguisher. You can learn how to do that practically even from the notes. Go to a particular fire extinguisher, know how to make use of it, and you go out there and teach people. That's one aspect, because you are saving lives. You can go to many organizations and tell them that we have enlightenment to give on fire safety, on workplace safety, on the water safety, and they will tell you, call the professional. You get your own cut, the professional gets his own cut. That is other aspect. You can work in oil and gas companies where they can employ you on their safety units or safety departments, including NNPC, including Ohandu, and other ones that you are seeing here. You can work there. Let me also tell you that if you perfect this knowledge beyond just not reading the material, no, you have to read the material, you have to get certificated. If you go beyond practice very well, honestly, you can apply as a safety officer in any of these filling stations, and they will tell you, why do you think we should employ you? You will tell them that when the truck is supposed to discharge fuel, I'm supposed to be there. When the truck is leaving the filling station, I'm supposed to be there. Reason being that you need to know that they play it safe. Fuel. What are the things that are done? Earthing is when you try to, connect a kind of wire by, putting the negative to the earth, so that whenever there is a shock or whenever there is a fire, it will be minimized. So such earth cable, almost all the filling stations do have it. They have it. But when they are discharging fuel, they don't remember using it. And when there's fire, it aggravates, it grows so quickly without that earth cable. So how many people remember earth cable when they are trying to discharge PMS or AGO from the fuel trucks? You are there to remind them because you are the safety officer there. That is also one aspect. Then you can work in construction company. You can also be a freelancer in this by doing what? Fire safety signage, exit, muster point, fire action notice. All those things are signage that warn people that you are approaching the place. When there's a fire, you go to this place. When there is, these are also jobs for you to do. You can go into that, go into the printing of them and supply people. And that is one job that is also like a self-employed job. So you can dwell into many areas in which I want to believe you will be contented with what you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. In fact, you are an encyclopedia in this area of your profession. We welcome you. We thank you for being here, and we are appreciating your time here. Yeah. Okay. Let's take some more questions. Then we're calling it a day. John, Ide or Ide, I don't know. John, over to you. Unmute yourself. Please, straight to your question. Just 1 minute. We can't hear you, John. Unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Mr. John Ide.
Yeah.
I'm asking our facilitator on firefighting. We were made to understand that when you are fighting fire, fire also fights back. But I did not actually see that on the material. So I would like him to explain to us on that area, because it's dangerous. Fire is a friend, and fire is also dangerous to us as humans. So that when people want to go into practice of extinguishing fire, they also have this knowledge of the fact that fire fights back.
Okay, thank you, John. Before Doctor answers that, I want to say something here. One thing we encourage in La Plage Metaverse is that we encourage people to we encourage people to explore self-education. What do I mean? If you take your Google and type, how do fire fight back when you want to fight fire? You read it up and you'll be okay. You get my point? So that we don't waste too much time on some things that the answers are already there with us. However, Mr. Ibrahim is going to talk about that. Just for others, I think a lot of people have areas they want to know, they want to go further, they want professions, they want to get jobs, they want to expand this training beyond what they are doing now. Where can this certificate get them jobs and all that?
All right.
Mr. Ibrahim, over to you. How can fire fight us back?
Okay, thank you, sir. I want to first of all appreciate the person actually firefight back, because once you are using the right tools to fight fire, you will see in your slide, you will see something that they will say class B fire, class C fire. When you use water to fight class B fire, the fire will escalate. Have you ever fried something in your kitchen, and when you are frying, something, that thing is on fire, and then you now want to use water to extinguish it? It will increase, it will escalate. So such fire, you have used the wrong extinguishing medium to extinguish that fire. So that fire will automatically fight you back. That's number one. Number two, because combustible materials are handy, they are close, they are increasing the fuel, they are increasing the momentum, the gravity of the fire. So it will continue to get more combustible. And that is why we do tell people, when you are fighting fire, just face the fire, fight the fire, and ensure that as you are fighting that fire, do not allow flash over to come up. Because once there is fire and it starts small, by the time it grows bigger and there's a flashover in the entire room, you can hardly fight that fire with extinguishing, with portable fire extinguisher. So you can. So fire fight back in the sense that by the time you have taken care of all the combustibles, by the time you have taken care of the tools you are going to make use of, you will see that you are on top of the situation. Please, let me also use this opportunity to tell us that electrical, once we are fighting electrical fire, we should make sure that electrical supply, that the electricity being supplied is being cut off first. Otherwise, by the time we're using it, I will now have the available fire extinguisher is CO2, which is moisture in content. You will see that it will affect the fighting of the fire because that person might be electrocuted. So it will have become double issue. So we don't want that to happen as well. So that is that, but once fire is being attacked at the incipient stage, you will extinguish that fire in no time. Thank you. And you do it in so many courses. You say many professions, fire service, you can use this certificate, like I said earlier, in so many places. And let me also tell you that some people are waiting for you to finish this training and say, hey, tender your certificate. And if you have fire safety knowledge, but this comes with questions. They will ask you, they will test you. Do you really have the knowledge? Now, can you please tell me, what is fuel? If you answer them, that fuel is petrol, fuel is gas, and fuel is kerosene, they will tell you, thank you very much. You can go, we'll call you back. But they will never call you. Fuel is anything that can burn. So is human being a fuel? Yes. You can see the scope, the definition of fuel is no longer limited to those fuel that you know before, which is petrol, kerosene, and diesel, even cooking gas. No, it is not limited to that. Fuel as a meaning has been extended to your clothing, your book, your table, anything that can burn. So is human being a fuel? Yes. So please, let us get the scope from the advice doctor gave us that we should Google more and know more about it, so that when we are facing our interviewers, they will interview most of the angles they are coming from. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. This is superb, wonderful. I can hear people say they want to change their profession right now. They want to go into safety. I'm getting the training from Zambia. Emmanuel, okay, I can't get the full name. Emmanuel Muna, I can't get the full, okay, Muna Lula. He said he's getting this training from Zambia. Good evening, sir. I want to know if the certificate is internationally recognized and how will I receive the certificate. First of all, you'll be receiving the certificate by email. Once you fill the form for the certificate, I don't know if it's going to come with a test or not. That depends on Mr. Ibrahim. If you fill the form and you get to a point where you can download your certificate and print it if you like, or save it on your device. And there's also a place for you to put your email correctly, and you get a copy of your email. The certificate is of high quality, so it means you can print it with a very good printer and you come out very clean and sharp. Now, talking about getting a job anywhere in the world, FCT Fire Service is a government organization. It's recognized. It's a government organization. And La Plage Metaverse is also recognized and a registered organization. Our partner is in UK, First Care, and this certificate is going to be CPD accredited. Mind you, we have students from over 102 countries taking our courses. So if this is not recognized, students will not even bother taking our courses. People are getting jobs, people are getting recognition. They are just, everything is just, wow, so beautiful with what we are doing here. So please relax. We have training providers in Zambia. You can get in touch with them and you can take more of our training. So I hope I've answered your question, Emmanuel Lula. So, okay. Yeah, I also want to inform everybody here that beyond the certificate, the knowledge is number one. You can have Harvard University certificate. If you cannot defend that certificate, it becomes useless on you. And that is why we always ensure that all our students go through our training properly and have the certificate to back up their knowledge. Because certificates are needed for documentation. Nobody will just employ you. Yeah, you're a good safety officer, you have the knowledge, you have the skill and everything. But what will they put in your file? Is it your voice? No, not your voice. They need to put something in your file. And that is where the certificate becomes needed. It becomes an evidence and proof of your knowledge and skill. But whereby your certificate, your knowledge is not commensurate with what you have on your certificate, then there's a problem. So please do your part, and we are ready. Get the certificate and start moving. And we also want this to be a starting point for you, for those of you that want to come into the, whether you have a PhD or what. This could just be your entry point into the world of safety. And you start seeing yourself working as a consultant or working in big organizations and companies, government agencies, and all that. Yeah, okay. Let me see if there are other things here. Yeah, thank you. This is really worth it. Part facilitator, thank you. First, anything that can burn. Yeah, Solomon, good evening all. When did this class start? Can you imagine? Colette Okoro. Good evening all. Wow, thank you. Obede Osai. An eye-opener fuel is anything that can burn. But part facilitator. Wow, thank you, Queenie. How can one get the certificate? You can get your certificate in your class. It will be announced once it is time for you to get your certificate. This training is pivotal to life. The contribution of the organizer of this course is highly appreciated. Thank you, Elfius Oladi Pupo. Wow, it's so much. I can't read everything. I can't read everything. Thank you so much, Mr. Ibrahim. God bless you, and La Plage. Mr. Osaze, thank you, Pi. And the link for the certificate will be sent to the class, please. Good evening, sir. I have done HSC certificate already with Novel Center, which is also a UK accredited. What is the next level can I attain in safety? Okay, that will be responded to. One thing you are going to find in your materials once it's sent to you, so that we don't waste too much time. we are going to outline all the various stages you need to plan, just like in project management, all the various stages you need to go through to be able to all the stages, level 1, level 2, level 3, and the professional diversions or branches you can go into to specialize. Don't worry, we'll get all that. Exactly, knowledge is power, audio is good. Yeah, very educative and informative. Seydu Umar, this is highly commendable, very educative and well explained by our able instructor. Thank you, sir. Mojisola Olumoya, thank you. Abdul Malik, thank you very much. Don't worry, how does one get it to your web to read? Don't worry, we'll be giving the link to read. Don't just relax. Just make sure you keep in touch with us. Okay, let's take 2 more questions. We are way past 9 o'clock. Because we started late, we'll make up for the extra time we started with. Ima the preacher, over to you. 1 minute, we don't have time. Please straight to the question and you'll be answered. Okay, Ima the preacher is not there. I think we've responded to John Ede. Akinwole Tolulope. Women are not answering. I'm not seeing any woman's hands raised up for question. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, over to you.
Yes. Yeah. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I really want to appreciate you for this lecture. In fact, it's coming at the right time. So far, we are already in Ramadan season.
Thank you.
All right. My question is on muster point.
Okay.
Please, I need more explanation on muster points.
Okay.
Then another question is on this. Is this because I've been to banks and in banks you see emergency exits. In school, sometimes I was in school and some other places you see muster points. Please, is there any correlation between emergency exits and muster points? Then apart from that, now you discover that in our cars, there's always a provision that we should be making use of fire extinguisher. And my question is, the content in the fire extinguisher of our car, is it the same thing as the content of the fire extinguisher that we see in offices and companies? Thank you.
Okay, over to you, Mr. Ibrahim.
Yes, thank you. I got the first question very correct, but it was shaking. The second question was shaking. But the muster points are emergency exits. Emergency exits is a place in the building that you must pass through to get outside the building. It also varies from one office or one location to the other. If you are the right wing of a particular building, your emergency exit will be closer to you. If you are the left wing of the same building, the emergency exit will be closer to the left wing. But all together, when they exit the building, they are going straight to an assembly area. They call it evacuation assembly area. Some people call it fire points. Some people call it fire assembly point. It is also known as muster point, which means a free place devoid of any, how will I put it, or any hazard, where people can assemble and they are safe from the fire or any emergency that is happening in the building. So that is the muster point. And you were saying something about the fire extinguisher. That's why I did not get clearly. Whether you say fire extinguisher in the office, what happened? I didn't get it.
Elaborate on your question.
That's second question, please.
Ask my question again. Okay. All right.
Question.
All right. The second question, sir. I said in our class there's provision for that we should be making use of fire extinguisher. Now my question is the content in the fire extinguisher that we use in the car, is it the same thing as the content of the fire extinguisher that we see in offices, in companies, in buildings? Are the content the same?
Very good one, sir. Very good one. You see,
yes, sir.
The contents are of different, like I said before, when I was introducing fire extinguisher. But the best that are supposed to be used in our cars is that of DCP, dry chemical powder. Let me clarify this. We have class A, which is solid organic materials. Class B, which is liquid or liquefied solids. Class C, which is gaseous. And class D, which is metal. In all our cars, all the classes of fire is all in the car. Class A, the fabric you are sitting on, the seat, is class A. Class B, the PMS that is in your tank, the engine oil, is class B. Class C, if you have an air conditioner in your car, it uses gas. Is that not? That is class C fire category. Class D, motor parts are made of metals. Is that not? So those are there. So we now want to make use of fire extinguisher that is multi-purpose. Multi-purpose fire extinguisher is the dry chemical powder fire extinguisher. So it should be seen in your car. And that is why when you want to patronize people, patronize the professionals. Don't patronize people that will sell you shelters for fire extinguisher. We have seen so many cases where when there's a car fire, they will bring out the fire extinguisher just to make use of it and nothing comes out of it. Or a shelter, a liquid form comes out of it, which will just spray like an insecticide, and that's all. That is not a good fire extinguisher. So a good fire extinguisher in the car should be DCP, which you also find in your offices, DCP. But there are places where DCP should not be placed. Places like kitchen and places near computer system. Because when you make use of DCP, it will extinguish the fire and you have gotten your result. But the dry chemical powder is also hazardous to the computer components. So if the computer is still intact and you can refix it, the component from the DCP can damage it as well. But if it is CO2 and you have put off the electrical circuits, no more supply. If you make use of CO2, you will find your electrical computer intact if fire has not affected it in the first place. So I want to believe I've answered the questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. This is very, very wonderful. Yes. One of the major things, I don't know if you want to talk about it, we have a training on international volunteering. One of the areas we are looking at is to start grooming volunteers for the fire service, whether FCT, whether federal or whatever. But the idea is to have volunteers, Nigerians everywhere, Africans in their various communities, trained as volunteer firefighters, not necessarily fighting the fire, but being able to mitigate the effect of the fire pending when the professional firefighters come on ground. Now, let me give you a very good scenario. Most of the time when there's a fire incident, firefighters find it difficult to get to the scene of the incident. And by the time they get there, it's either it is too late or so much damage must have been done. Two, there are supposed to be mitigations or remedies for this fire once it starts immediately, pending when fire service will come around. But because probably there are no volunteers around, nothing is being done. People don't even know how to handle the fire in the first place. But with people like this on the ground, there's immediate remedy, first aid, fire first aid, let me put it that way, pending when you come with it. What do you think about this area?
Okay, thank you. Actually, we have we introduced aspect of volunteerism into flood, that is the rescue aspect of fire safety. You will see that in most villages where flooding used to happen in Abuja, especially, you will see that most of the villages, there are volunteers. So that aspect has also been visited in the fire unit, in which we are thinking of doing that. We have even talked to some chiefs. We call them VFM, that's volunteer fire marshals. So if we have these fire marshals volunteers, we know that it will actually bridge the gap between the arrival time and the calling time. But before I get into that, because of this mob action against fire service, there are 3 things that used to mitigate against quick response. Number 1, the proximity of the fire scene to the fire station. You are calling us from, we are in Asokoro, for example. We are in 14 stations in FCT, which FCT Fire Service has 14 fire stations, which we are still trying to do to open. But what am I trying to say? By the time you call fire service in Asokoro and you are calling from Orozo, where we carry fire station in Karu. Even Karu is not too close to Orozo or Karishi. By the time we get there, because of the mitigating factor, which is the distance. Number 2, the navigation of the road. And number 3, some people don't have our number. Even a number to call emergency number, if you ask them, did you call? Say, no, I don't have your number. So why are you blaming us? It's a good Samaritan that call us. So some people will do a running call. Running call is those people that will run to the office and say, I just discovered that there's a fire in Asokoro or in Metama or in Karu. Please go. Is the fire waiting? That person spent time to come to the office to report. And then we're not taking off to go there. That fire will be a bigger fire before we get there. So those factors will actually affect the quicker response of the fire service, which will also indirectly lead to mob action from the public. But the public are not being fair when they are doing that mob action, because they know very well that the proximity of their fire scene and the fire station should be considered. That is that. So in that case, we have encouraged so many people to have fire extinguishers in their home, so that when the fire starts small, you can nip it. You can extinguish such fire. And that is what we have been preaching. And that is one of the aspects that fire service does. We have fire prevention units where we do tell people that don't even allow the fire to happen in the first place. We have enforcement units where we enforce people that, oh, this is a safety culture, but you are not observing it. If you don't observe it, we penalize you. That is the enforcement unit. We have enlightenment unit, which my uncle said is the head. We enlighten people, we go to schools, we catch them young, we teach children on how to really do this. And that is why volunteer fire marshals can also be of help to bridge the gap. And we are working towards it very soon. Very soon, we are going to set up some of these volunteer fire marshals in which people that have obtained certificate from La Plage Metaverse can also be of advantage to be supervisors to these volunteer fire marshals.
Wow, thank you very much. If we want to continue, we'll discover that we open our eyes the next day, because the program is so interesting that we don't want to stop. Thank you, Muhammad Ibrahim. It is clear that you are a seasoned professional in your field, and you know what it takes to be there. I also want to thank every student who is seated on this program. It is clear that we did not waste our time taking this program, coming for this training. And it's also very clear that we've had enough information on this program to put us on a sound footing as to branch off or grow in whichever aspect of safety we want to go as professionals. It's also clear that there are huge opportunities out there while others are waiting and say there are no jobs. You are beginning to see so much opportunities that are staring you on the face and say, wow, I need to seize one of these. So right now you're going to sleep very happy, knowing quite well you're waking up tomorrow to seize one of these opportunities. Stay close to La Plage Metaverse. We are bringing hope, we are bringing life back, we are making people happy, we are making everybody understand that it is not over yet. You've not even started. Just stay close to us and you'll be shocked at the kind of courses you'll be getting, courses that will be exposing you to fields outside your area of specialization and thereby giving you further opportunities. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry we couldn't take questions from everybody because we cannot. We've exhausted our time and we don't want to go beyond our boundaries. You'll be going back to your class. Between this night and tomorrow morning, you'll be getting links for your certificate. I will advise you get it so that you back it up. This is a professional training that you can use anytime, anywhere in the world. Present your certificate. You can call La Plage and say, yes, this man took this course, and you'll be better for it. Even if you know you are traveling abroad, please use it. Don't worry, use the certificate, and also back yourself with the knowledge. And guess what? Go online, go to Google and read more, or load yourself with knowledge and information about fire, about muster point, about fire extinguishers, about accident, why you need to do this and that. And you just discover that you are becoming A+ in everything around you. Thank you. God bless you all, and see you in the class again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. I love
Thank you.